Okay, everyone. Our last speaker is Radek Taraszka, a product leader, designer, and community manager from UXPin. He has been working on digital products and services since 2010. He is also crafting a product that enhances collaboration between designers, developers, and stakeholders. And Radek today will be talking about the nightmare of presenting your designs and how to make it right. Radek, you can take it over.
Thank you, Julia, for a really warm welcoming. I'm really happy to be here. So, some of you know me from Product Tribes. I know some of you from Product Tribes. So I'm really happy and excited that we made that event. Yeah. So, and to be here. So probably the first thing I should do is to share my screen, right, Julia?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm probably in the competition for the ugliest first slide. But it's in that was the purpose of that. So the title of my presentation is the nightmare of presenting the design. So I didn't include any slide about myself. So I just want to say that I'm a product lead of R&D team here at UXPin. So it's kind of similar to Michael, probably, Shilman. I still have her, so I don't have so much experience as Michael, but I'm going there. And I wanted to share with you the thing that I heard from a lot of designers and the product people. So why the presentation is so hard, and especially presenting the design, right? So the real name of this presentation is people struggle to present their work. It's not like only for designers. It's the thing for us that we struggle to present our work. So at the bottom of the slide, you see three really like significant failures in presentation. So the launch of Windows 98, the launch of iPhone X, and the most recent, the launch of Tesla Cybertruck. So when you're a CEO of a company like Tesla, having a problem during presentation isn't a big issue, right? Because it could be a viral, so it could be good for you. But when you're a designer and you present your work to stakeholders, manager, or clients, there is no big opportunity to make it viral and to help you in your design process. And at the same time, when you struggle, when you present your design, you could have the best possible product or the best possible solution, and you could make the good work in research and aligning goals, problems, and solution. But in this particular place and moment, the only thing that matters is to get people who making decision to accept your design, to accept your vision, and move that from design to product development to make it alive. So why it's happened? Because you could say, okay, already how we know that, yeah? So I wanted to show you how we get there. The first thing I wanted to present you is these two gentlemen. On the left side, you see Thomas Edison, and on the right side is Nikola Tesla. So we know Thomas Edison from historical books. It's like a grand person, right? And Nikola Tesla was his co-worker. They worked together and split during the war of electric currency. And till the last few years, Tesla wasn't known too much. He was just like crazy scientist. But people from their time said that Tesla was even more brilliant than Edison. He was like amazing guy. But the thing was that Edison was not only great scientist, but also great entrepreneur. He has like this great skill of connecting the ideas with existing problem and packaging them as a product. That's something that Tesla struggled. So Edison died as a really rich guy and having this Edison Lab company with 800 scientific engineers employed. And Tesla died in Paris really poor, and a lot of people forget about this guy. He became forgotten for a lot of years. So that's another new thing that we struggle with connecting dots. So how we get there? In the last quarter of 2019, me and my colleague Natalie, we were tasked with the question of, what is the biggest problem of designers in 2019? So we asked this really broad question to experienced designers and product people. And after the first iteration, we thought that we got it. Yeah, we heard that the thing that people like and would be helpful for them to have is to help them argument their decisions. Yeah, so we prepared this small prototype to share with other batch of designers and product people, and we present them, and we are wrong. So a lot of people said to us that no, they are experienced designers. They don't have problem with presenting their ideas. They use user testing, usability testing to help get arguments for their design decision, and they don't have problem with being wrong. It's better to prepare a better solution than being right. But the problem we spot during the second phase was everything ends at the moment when they need to get approval from the stakeholders. So on the moment of presentation. And a lot of people mentioned that there is something. So we spent the last iteration on exploring these problems. And I wanted to share what we found during the last phase. So to tell you who we interviewed 35 designers, 9 managers, mostly design or product managers, and 16 other roles like business analysts, content designers, and other product people. The important fact is that we talked to people who had at least 2 years of experience, but most of them had more than 5 years of experience. So what people said during these interviews. So we had few interesting quotes that I wanted to share with you to explain you that it's kind of common thing for us designers, product people to struggle. So one person, product leader, said that most of the designers he had in his team are introvert and they struggle a lot with presenting. So he started to present the work of the team to stakeholders, managers, and clients. Other person said that, and that's is kind of common, that they feel frustrated when they present their work to other people when they need to get approval, and they see that they invite them for the meeting and people stick to their smartphones. Yeah, they're not focused, they aren't attracted by what is presented. It's really hard for designers then because they feel that they made something wrong. The other thing that is also really common is that during this moment of presentation design, when you're trying to get approval of what you've done, there are sometimes the questions of, maybe not questions, but to get suggestions how to make it different, what we could do differently. And the thing is that usually we even give us the space to comment the design and design decision before the meeting, but we got these questions during the final presentation. But there was also kind of a big group of people who said that they don't really experience this problem. Like for them, this moment of presentation is all the time because they collaborate really closely. So for them, collaboration is one of the core values. And it's really popular and common in a startup environment. And that's kind of easy to understand because there is like, imagine the company of 20 or 30 people. So it's really easy to get from the one room to the second room, ask all the stakeholders about what they think at the same day. So a lot of these companies use continuous collaboration. So sharing the design during the design process with developers, product managers, and other stakeholders. But it's easy for startups, but what if you work in a big company with thousands of employees across the whole world? Yeah, what we can do. So we gathered some inputs and some insights from the designers and product people from this research. So what are the biggest issues for presenting the design when you're a designer or product person? So basically, most of us use some kind of design tool. Yeah, it could be Figma, it could be Adobe XD, it could be UXPin. And usually we present in two ways. It could be offline, so you gather all these people in one room, you need to check their calendars, you need to prepare the food, water, and you need to prepare yourself because probably you're nervous and excited at the same time. And the other way is to do the same, but remotely. So you need to set Zoom link or Skype link or whatever you have. And what you also need is a good luck because you never know if people will be focused enough, if they find time, if the internet connection will be good. So if you put all your items and your things at the end, you need also to have luck to present that in the right way. The other thing that designers and product people do is that they sometimes prepare videos of what they have to present. And not too many people do that, but still it's like some part of them. And it's kind of effective, you can say, because it's already done. You could send that and get people along that. The biggest problem of videos is that there are few, but the two most common are that when you start preparing the video and you made a mistake, you need to start from scratch because it's hard to connect the dots. And the second is if you made some changes in your design, you need to do it again, right? And the last thing is that it's not interactive. Yeah, so it's just like to see, and you cannot interact with that. So how designers solve it? What are the things that designers doing these days to help this moment of presentation on pushing your design through approval process? So the first thing is to understand that collaboration is the key, that design isn't the lonely island on Pacific Ocean. Design is a part of product development process, and the product development process is part of the business. So we're doing things with other teams, and only when we collaborate with other teams officially, we can be successful. So in the core of our work, we need to remember that we need to onboard other people to our thinking process, our ideas, and what we found. That's a core thing that people mentioned during this research. So how to help collaboration? Again, when you're a startup, it's kind of easy, yeah? But when you have a bigger company, how to help and establish the collaboration? So I have a few things to share with you today that we found during these interviews. So let's start with the first thing. So usually we connect problem solution. There is like problem solution statement, right? But in reality, the first thing that is there is call. We work usually in the business industry. So the companies have, or teams has the quarter goals, year goals, or even the company strategy that has some goals to achieve. So the first thing is that company want to improve some area in a tool, service, whatever they offer. So when we know what is the goal for a company, then we're starting to looking for problems or the areas that we can improve or to solve. Once we know what is the problem, we as the product people, we are going there to try to find and deliver the best solution to the problem, and to help solving this problem will help to achieve some kind of goals. So that's the first thing that needs to be explained, your design thinking process, your thinking process, how you get from goal to problem to the solution. So that's the first layer. The second layer is that we know that it isn't so easy. It isn't just like the first thing you have is the problem you found. Sometimes you need more iteration to understand what is the problem. Like we had in this presentation, yeah, you need few iterations to get to the problem, to the core of the problem. So it's also something that had to be explained to your stakeholders, that you made few already iterations, that you explored the area, that it isn't the one shot that you made. So it also helps you to win the argumentation. Something that Elad mentioned, right? When you think about the stakeholders, that you need to understand what you should prepare and to who you're saying, and also to show that you invest some amount of time and thinking to that. The same is with a solution. Usually not the first design or solution is the right one. You iterate, you test, you make a usability testing or user testing, and then you have the solution. So when you share your ideas during a presentation, you should share the whole process from the goal to the problem, through the problem to the solution. The second thing is that there is this idea of dark dining. I don't know if all of you know about this idea, so I wanted to tell you a bit about this concept, but the overall idea is that you go to the restaurant, and in the restaurant it's totally dark. You see nothing, yeah? So you get your seat by the table, and waitress show you, like help you to put your hand on the fork and the knife. And the thing is that you completely don't know what you will be eating. So when you prepare for this kind of experience, it could be amazing, right? But on the other hand, you totally don't know what you eat. And a lot of what we use during eating is our eyes. So how the dish look like. So here is like really strange feeling that you don't know what it is. So imagine when you're a stakeholder. So there was this project ongoing for a few weeks or a few months, and at the end you got design. So why are we doing that to the stakeholders? Why they get their design at the end of that? Why do we put them into the dark, right? So the thing is that it helps us to get people focused on the meeting and interested on the meeting when you present the final design, when you already share something with them, when you make them like interested of what will be on the presentation. So to help you do that, you could prepare a few things before the presentation. For example, the first thing is to prepare this message or the email that there will be the presentation and what you expect from this meeting. So what will be the goal of the meeting? You can briefly explain goal, problem, solution. So something I mentioned before, to get them along your thinking process, to help them find the right question and not think about other ideas, but focus on what you prepared. You could attach some design and prototypes if possible, right? Because it's easier for them also to comprehend and connect goal, problem, and solution when they see something. And the last thing is to explain what you expect from attendees during the meeting. That's really important to set what they can do and what they shouldn't do during the meeting. It helps you to be the host and the main person during the presentation. That's really helpful. And the last thing is when you think, okay, you prepared this message or email, so you can think, I shared everything, what I will share during the presentation. So there came our design and product skills. So imagine that, most of the things we share are static because of something. Yeah, you share the mockups, not always, but it's really popular to share mockups. So during the presentation, you should save some magical skills, your magical design product power to make it alive, to share that you're not preparing the static mockups, but you're preparing the product, something that will be alive finally, right? So you have few things that you can do during this meeting, and I wanted to show you how you could make it alive. And why is it important? So this is the report from Dribble from 2019 showing the most important skills for designers, the skills they want to learn in the next years. And as you can see, the most common trend is motion design. And it means that designers already know and notice that it's a lot easier to get people excited and get people interested when you share motion design, when you share interactions, when you share animations, when you share video or prototype. That's the direction. So what I wanted to show you is two examples of things that you can do. I will show you the examples built in the UXPin, so the tool that we are working on, and things that our customers build. So this is the design made by Luke Pachetel. And when you share the static design, that's what the person will get, right? There is some mobile device, and there is some probably e-commerce thing that was designed. But imagine that during the presentation, you're not showing the video, but you're going to the real prototype, as I will go right now. So what you're seeing right now is a prototype built in UXPin, and the things on the screen is a real experience. So all interactions and animation are built by the designer. So you could share the static screens before the meeting, but during the meeting, you show the magic, right? That's the moment when you get stakeholders along, when you're sharing how it will look finally. So that's something that's really working. But that's when you have a great look and feel, like this one made by Luke Pachetel. But not always will you working on a look and feel. Sometimes you'll work on logic, right? So you could also share what is important and prepare and share what's the project is about. So it's not only logic, you could also show your thinking there, what you build, and show that the logic is important, that you covered some cases, that you know what are the corner cases, you know what is the primary case, and that you are prepared for different scenarios with your product. So it's also the moment when you could share and present that you are prepared, that you are ready. So I will summarize quickly. So how designers solve it currently, and again, it's based on the design on the research we made with the 60 people from the product industry. So the first thing is try to establish everyday collaboration. It's really helpful when you talk to your developers, when you talk to product managers, when you talk to stakeholders and clients, and treat them as a team. Treat them as people who could help you build this product, your design, and help get them from this product, this project, through design phase to the development phase, and then launch it. The second thing is to explain goal problem solution connection. So help stakeholders understand that you understand the business under your design, that you have this business goal in your head, because sometimes stakeholders think that designers focus only on these beautiful things, but not the goal and not the problem. And we know that designers have business in their head, but help people see that you know that. It's good to share some materials before the presentation. The one thing is to help people prepare for the presentation, set the goals and set the guideline for the presentation. And at the same time, you don't have to share the boring things during the presentation. You made that with an email and then leave the best things for the presentation. And saying about the best things for the presentation, add some magic during that while presenting. You could use whatever tool you use. You could use UXPin. You could use other tools that help you build this magic, these animations, this prototype. Just help to get stakeholders aboard. Help them see that you not only understand the goal and problem and the solution, but you also really wanted to solve that problem. So that would be all. So thank you very much. I hope you have some questions, but before and I wanted to thank all the team preparing this event. So I wanted to thank you, Julia, thank you, Kasia and Zbyszek for organizing that and making that so good. Really, thanks you guys.
Thank you, Radek. So we actually do have some questions. So get ready. How did you get 60 people around the world to take part in your research?
Yeah, so when you think about that, it sounds kind of horrifying, right? To get 60 experienced product people around the world. But to be honest, it's easier than you think. And because people want to share their experience, especially if you ask the question that they feel that they want to answer, what they feel that there is a problem that is common for them. So people want to share their insights and share their experience. A lot depends, of course, on how you want to listen to them. But currently we have LinkedIn, we have all these like networks, we have other designers we know from other companies. So it's easier than you think to get these insights. Everything depends here on how honest you are about your question. So when you want to solve some problem, when you're like persistent to think about this problem and the problem of people behind that, that's easier than most people think. So I strongly encourage to try to use whatever network you have to validate your problems, your statements, and use all the resources you have.
Get out there and talk to people. Okay, when presenting prototypes to stakeholders, they often become focused on what is not in the prototype instead of what is being demonstrated, especially for large projects such as website design, where the final design is often delivered in phases. What are some tips for presenting in these situations?
Okay, so that's a hard question for sure. So the thing is, one thing I made before is that you could split the presentation in few pieces. Yeah, sometimes the project could be too big to just like get people and discuss it for like one thing for sure. The meeting shouldn't be longer than 1 hour. Like the meetings longer than 1 hour with stakeholders, it's hard to get people focused. Some people would say even that 30 minutes is enough, yeah, and that should be the time to present anything. So sometimes it's easier to split things, split the presentation to few events. just to get people along with the overall idea and then get through the details of the solution. Because if people agree on the overall idea, then it's easier to get them through the details. And so that probably would be my suggestion, to split that thing. And that's the second thing is usually you should have the primary path covered, right? It's, of course, we need to prepare all these like corner cases, but the primary path shows you that you have some like clear solution, you understand the problem, and again, it's connected to the goal. So the first thing would be this primary path that we want to cover. Usually, after you develop something and test it with users, you'll get more insights about what should be redesigned or added or removed. So that would be my suggestion. If it's really big, I would split that, and again, I will focus on the primary path of the design.
All right. Before we will be wrapping up, we have one more. I found that the most challenging and the most valuable part of this process is understanding the core problem. Any tips on how to find the big problem which would really resonate with the stakeholders?
So yeah, a lot depends on the stakeholders for sure. And yeah, it's like Elad said in his presentation, it's good to understand who is the key stakeholder and what he is looking for, what are the values he is like reviewing. So you need to have it at the back of your head. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you could be wrong. You need to remember that you could be wrong. So whatever you find, it could sound, fascinating, but you need to validate that again. Yeah. So for me, the best thing that helped me to get projects through approval, let's call it that way, is to really validate the problem statement with people, with the customers, with clients or users. So as I present on my slides, is the first problem we thought we found was wrong. I mean, like, we thought we find it was the core problem, but when we connected and we contacted experienced designers and product people, they said that it isn't a big thing for them. Maybe for junior designers, maybe for someone really new in the industry, but for most people it wasn't. So it was our thing to say, okay, let's dig deeper. Let's try to find out what's there. So here would be the suggestion to test that, to validate that, because when you record then feedback of people and you play that during the presentation, that's also the suggestion. When you record the video interview or audio interview, you could play that later during the presentation to show what people really thought about the idea. So that's the almost direct feedback from people. So, it's really powerful when you show the direct feedback.
All right, Radek, thank you for clarifying all that to us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so as all good things have to come to an end eventually, we've come to the end of our first virtual conference. Thank you everyone for being with us. Shout out to our speakers for such amazing presentations. If you're wondering where to find them after the event, the link to YouTube to the stream will not be active, but we will let you know via email when all the presentations will be up and running on our YouTube. There will be a separate video for each presentation. Also, we will get in touch with the lucky winners of the free ebooks and the UXPin subscription tomorrow. And well, last but not least, we love you all and thank you for being with us. Peace out, everybody.